record. Okay. One more button. Hang on. Okay, you're live.
Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to the Pillar One Advisory Committee meeting. The purpose of this meeting is to break down the silos and start talking to one another about how we can all help to make the blueprint a reality. The goal would be to learn from one another and find out what is working and think of creative solutions to the ones that aren't. We have a packed agenda tonight. So we're joined by Howard County and Washington County Early Learning Coordinators. We have Montgomery County Children Opportunity Alliance, Coppin University, Notre Dame University, and I don't see Christina. She is the bilingual center owner in PG counties. Maybe she's just running late. So the AIB and the committee would like to thank everyone for being here. And we're excited to hear from what's going on in your county. Let's start with the introduction. I'm Ruby Daniels. I'm the chair of the Pillar One Advisory Committee. And I'm also the president of MSFCCA, which is the Maryland State Family Child Care Association, as well as a family child care provider in Howard County. And would you believe it, the first time pre-K expansion grant recipient. So I'd like to welcome everyone, and I'll pass it on to my co-chair, Dr. Miller.
Good afternoon, evening. I'm Dr. Raina Miller, managing partner of the Consortium of Accomplished Educators, and I'm happy to be here.
Shall we, Gina?
Hi, everyone. I am Gina Hoover. I am the early learning lead teacher in Washington County Public Schools and a member of the Pillar One Advisory Committee.
Thank you, Gina. Linda?
Hi, I'm Linda Groundberg Quinn. I'm the Department Chair of Teacher Education at the Community College Baltimore County and also a proud member of this committee.
Thank you. Rachel, you want to introduce yourself before we go to the guest?
Hi there, I'm Rachel Amstutz, and I've got feedback right now. I'm really sorry, and I'm going to fix it. I am the policy director at the Accountability and Implementation Board.
Okay, Amy?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Amy Raymond, coordinator of early childhood programs with the Howard County Public School System. And I'm a guest this evening, and thank you for welcoming me.
Thank you. Kelly?
Hi, I am Kelly Longerbeam, the coordinator for early learning with Washington County Public Schools, and I'm very happy to be joining you all as well.
Thank you. Kimberly?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kimberly Rosnick. I'm the executive director of a newly formed nonprofit in Montgomery County called the Children's Opportunity Alliance. We are our county's designated early care and education coordinating entity. We are a public-private partnership. Thanks for the invite this evening. I look forward to the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you, Kimberly. Jael, am I pronouncing your name right? Jael?
Jale, and
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah, I had to log in through my phone as well because somehow I cannot hear through my computer. So you'll see two users. Jale Aldemir, I'm a faculty member at Early Childhood Education Program at Coppin State University, and I'm really excited to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you, Jolly. Kathy?
Hi, my name is Kathy Sipes. I'm a member of the faculty and work at Notre Dame of Maryland University. And I also am the coordinator of the CCPDF grant for Notre Dame, and also I'm working on Maryland Rebuilds. So I'm very happy to be here today and meet you all.
I don't see Carolina, but they're always supposed to be here. So thank you, everyone. Dr. Miller, you want to recap what happened last meeting?
Absolutely. Our last meeting was full of information, so it was hard for me to condense it so that I didn't take up this whole meeting. So I'm going to do my best. We discussed that our larger districts were having some challenges growing partnerships with private providers, and it seemed to be more challenging than in the smaller districts. We also noticed that they are not near the 70-30 split. even though enrollments are projected to grow from last year to upcoming school years. We also discussed the question about the discrepancy between the private pre-K tuition and the Blueprint funding plan provisions and how we can meet that gap. Oh, I'm missing something. All right, so we talked about how private providers, if they want to be the lead teacher, that they have to begin searching for academic programs in advance. And Ruby talked to us about the grant program and how there really needs to be some streamlining between the deadlines and when things are due so that people can apply. They can also apply for school and have all of that work to their benefit, not be behind and not be able to miss out on opportunities. And then we talked about using the grant opportunities offered by the state to prepare students for success, as well as using alternative pathways to certification for some of our private providers. And that included paraprofessionals and anyone else who is trying to find certification, because some of our programs do not lead to certification. And so looking at some different grants and programs that are new and upcoming that'll help with that process. And the final thing that I pulled out is that we were really talking about finding methods for the mixed delivery system to really work. So space, certification, pay for the teachers. You know, once you become certified, you still don't want to make a small amount of money after you've done the same thing that teachers in public school have done. And then local governance. I believe the gentleman from Head Start spoke about how there needed to be some type of local governance to just help LEAs as they're building the partnerships to get the work done of the blueprint. Oh, and yes, we need more participation at higher levels with our early childhood stakeholders, not just the recipients of the information, but helping with the decision making. I think that covers anything. If anybody can remember something I didn't get, please add it.
Gina, is there anything else that we missed? Do you have anything?
No, I think Rania did a good job covering all that, because it was a packed meeting last time too. So good job.
Yeah, I mean, I know some of our guests did mention about the compensation and the grant process and a lot of the barriers that are that are in the current blueprint. So yeah, let me just briefly say I am the first-time recipient of the pre-K expansion. And as a first-time recipient, I was really nervous because I'm an individual. I don't have a big group to support me and stuff. But Howard County did support me. They just kind of held my hand and showed me what to do. And the enrollment process was through the school, which really helped me a lot, because one of the requirement is the income eligibility, right? And I've talked to a lot of the parents, and some of my parents said they're not comfortable sharing their financial information with me, which is perfectly understandable. And I can see a lot of parents will feel the same way. So I feel like moving forward, if we were to make a centralized enrollment process, that I think the financial should be housed in the LEAs or the local education agency. It just makes sense. Howard County also provided some, family preference. I have a special needs child, and the child, even though she has a lot of services that needs to be housed in the school, and it would have been easier for her to receive those services, they made accommodation, even if it's a little harder for them to provide the special needs services. So now I have 3 teachers that come to my program 4 days a week. So they are really pulling up, and this is a program called PALS, PALS. I'm not familiar with the acronym, but I would invite them in future meetings to maybe expand on what the services are like. So I'm also, Howard County did have a teacher that would help me with the things that I'm struggling with right now, it's the assessment and the data collection that I'm not really familiar with. So I have a meeting with them next week. So there's great supports out there. And I'm sure, I don't want to, because I'm sure Amy will talk about it. So there's other considerations that I would like to, AIB to look at. Definitely the reimbursable grant model, maybe kind of rethink that model. The NOGA timeline, it seems like it's taking forever for us to get the NOGA, Notice of Grant Award. And so I got the award in June. I got the NOGA sometime in September, and it's October, and I'm still waiting to get paid. So if a private provider does not have, or a center does not have the initial capital to participate in the blueprint and the pre-K, so it will be very hard for somebody that does not have the capital to do so. So maybe that's something that we have to look at. And 85% qualifying student enrolled by December 31st is also a challenge for a lot of us. So, okay, that's it for me. And is there any question or anything that you'd like to add?
Hey, Ruby, I just want to add that sometimes families aren't even comfortable with sharing income with the school system as well. We get questioned a lot of times, like, why do you want my income? Why? And then once we explain it, they're okay with it, but and then we tell them it's in a safe, secure place, but they're hesitant sometimes still.
Yeah. And I can understand. I would feel the same way. I mean, I would feel the same way, especially the ones that are not qualifying, because I think we have to get it from everybody. Is that correct? I think that's what it is. Maybe some of our EL, Amy or Kelly would know.
We do collect for all.
For all, right? For all.
And
Yeah.
we do as well.
Okay, so
Yes.
then that might make other families or people like myself, I would be very uncomfortable doing that. So yeah, but I prefer if it's housed in the ELA. So so let's get going and let's hear from our guest speakers. I'm sure they will add a lot of information that the public would like to hear. The first on my agenda is, it's because I'm going according to, I clustered the ELA and then the higher ed, but I clustered them, and I do by alphabetical order first names. That's why there's no rhyme or reason why I chose people in the agenda that way. So let's start with Amy, because her name starts with the letter A. Amy from Howard County.
Thanks so much. Yes, I'm from the Howard County Public School System. And again, thank you for asking me to be a guest this evening. It's been really wonderful to work with Ruby. We were really excited when we found out that she had applied for the Pre-K Expansion Grant Award and was awarded to expand options and opportunities for families in our county. I'm really excited when we got to reach out to Ruby and learn a little bit more about her Pre-K expansion delivery, the number of seats, eligibility, the ages of children that she accepts. I also got to take a tour of Ruby's program and just get to learn a little bit more about it. And the wonderful thing about our initial meetings, where it was with myself, who is the coordinator of early childhood programs, as well as our coordinator of early intervention services. And we got to meet with Ruby together because we knew that this was going to be a collaborative effort to what Ruby was sharing, ensuring that we are providing inclusive opportunities for families. Once we had a sense of what Ruby's goals were in terms of the number of seats she had, the age of the children that she was accepting in the program, and what she would like to do in terms of referrals, we were then really excited and glad to refer families that were calling the public school system inquiring about options for their program. So we were able to refer families to her program according, Ruby, I know we had touched base, like, how would you like me to refer families, phone, email, etc. So really making sure that we were honoring the preferences, because I know, Ruby, you're very busy, and we wanted to make sure that you weren't getting inundated with those referrals. And then, as Ruby noted, in talking with Ruby, we decided to do a centralized application system through the public school system. So we modified, the application is the same. It's Howard County Public School System application. It's the same ones that our families submit. And then we created an modified acceptance letter that states, like, on behalf of the public school system, you have been accepted to the Ruby Family Daycare Center. And it included all the information for the family, including next steps are for you to begin your application packet, and please contact the program to begin with your registration process. So it's really all about that application. And as she noted, because we have already established a centralized application process within our school system where families apply directly to the Office of Early Childhood Programs, we process all the applications and then house them according to the school assignment that the child attends. It was easy for us to replicate that process for her and to have that secure file structure where the files are maintained. And then when they're needed for the grant program review, they'll be available for that process. So that's talking about the enrollment. Ruby, do you also want me to talk about the curricular supports too?
Yeah, whatever supports that are available out there for centers and for, other Head Start and other private programs, Montessori.
Sure. So through the Howard County Public School System, we have some of our sites are grantees for the pre-K expansion grant. And we have, through that grant, a resource teacher who serves in a coaching capacity role. And so really we view that any program that is participating in pre-K expansion is part of that role. So she is a coach not only to our public schools that are participating, but she's also available for those coaching supports with Ruby. It's typically at least once a month meeting based upon what the goals are for each program, but sometimes those meetings may occur more frequently, all based on what the needs are of that program. And so I know that Kate has been getting out to meet Ruby, and I know that she's really greatly looking forward to continuing to collaborate with Ruby with whatever the needs for supports are in the year ahead. And that includes things like professional learning. I know, Ruby, you mentioned the data collection for right now. So really wanting to individualize that according to the needs of the program so that we're meeting the needs of all of our students wherever they're enrolling for their pre-K.
Yeah, so I do have great support with the special, the teachers that come to my program. They also provide me with resources and they show me how to teach the kids. Which is, I would teach the kids and then later on, they teach not just the one child that needs the services, they teach all the children in my program. So then I learn how to teach the children and they arm me with words as well, because as you can see, English is not my first language. So they do give me the words on how to ask and how to engage the children. So I learned more from the teacher that come to my program than in the years that I've been in school. So it's a great learning experience and it's practical learning, not theory. So I do appreciate that part. Is there anything else from Howard? Are there any questions from the committee? No? Okay, thank you so much, Amy. We'll go to Kelly next. I'd like to hear the wonderful things. I've heard a lot of things about Washington County.
Oh, well, I'm happy to be here. And if you hear a little one in the background, my daughter is here, my 3-year-old. So earlier when I was introducing myself, I was trying to get off real quick because I could hear her running saying, "And Cora too, and Cora too." So she might pop in a second, but we do have a lot of great things happening in Washington County. This is my third year in the role as coordinator for early learning. So kind of took it on as Blueprint was all happening. And, so it's kind of a fresh start for all. But in the beginning, we literally only had 2 community partners. One was Head Start at that point with the expansion grant, and one was a daycare center as well. And then now we have grown that we actually do have about 60 some seats that are partnered with us. So some with Head Start. Richie's Tot Lot has 40 spots right now. And then we had the Child Care Alliance. Not sure if Howard County is part of that as well, but we have 2 in-home providers that are part of that. So the way we kind of do our enrollment with that is because as we're starting to grow, we started doing a unified pre-K application. So we kind of designed ours and then replicated it as well for our other partners. So they are free to use that. So there's consistency with that. Our need here in Washington County is the 3-year-old piece. You know, we have universal pre-K for 4s, but we don't have space for the 3-year-olds. So that's where we're really encouraging our partners with that. And I know Richie's Tot Lot has already said that, you know, she needs more space. Like every 3-year-old call we were getting, we referred them to Richie. So she was very thankful for that, but now she's looking to expand because she needs more space. I know a lot with our Head Starts, a lot of those students just roll up because they start with early Head Start. With that piece as well, in the same way with our in-home providers, they usually have a lot of those from infants and they roll up. But we really have tried to partner a lot with our private providers. Next week, we're kind of doing a private provider tour. Gina and I joked today that we're going to go out to hit our 2 in-home providers, visit with them, kind of see what their needs are, what are things that they want this year, resources. We actually have purchased Nell Duke's literacy book with infants, preschools, toddlers, and preschoolers. So we're going to offer that to them as well. We're partnering with our Head Start to do a book study with them as well during their professional days. And we're able to give them core of knowledge hours. So they're always thankful for that. And then, one second, okay. And then also what we're going to do is do that consistently throughout the year. So our first session will be November 3rd. We'll do another session with Head Start. I think it's in January. And then I think the last one's March. Is that right, Gina? Okay. So that's one piece we're looking at doing with them. We really do try to work. We have one of our BCBAs is going to go over to Head Start on our next November professional day and do some behavior techniques because we are seeing, you know, more and more behaviors and just strategies to help them support them. What else am I missing? Oh, something else that we just did in September, we have the Early Childhood Conference here at the community college. So Gina and I were able to present at it, and we have some of our own providers that are there joining, and one already expressed interest that she said her biggest fear, like you said, the grant, like she's just, a lot of work went into it, but we said we would help support her with it, you know, whatever she needs, review things as well with her. So she's on board to help with that. So we really are trying to get more partners. We even joined, Kim Ritchie is the head director for our child care centers here in the county. We've joined several Zoom calls, just trying to share information to get more on board because it is daunting when you think about accreditation and Excels and all the pieces that go with it. But, you know, we're here to help support them with it.
That's amazing. Now, you said that you have curriculum support as well for the community providers.
So we offer professional learning. PD, Gina and I will go out and usually we kind of get a feel of what they want or need. Last year we did focuses on science of reading. We did math practices. We've done things with centers. Yeah, so basically what their needs are and then support it. And then even 2 years ago, we actually opened it up and did just a provider PD on a Saturday morning from 8 to 12 and purchased resources and materials that if they attended, they got a bag of goodies then to take back and use in their centers.
So are there any questions from the committee? No. So the centralized enrollment process, you have something similar to what is what is done in Howard County?
So we kind of use the similar like application. So they would so when we do all of our like advertising for your options, they're listed, all different choices are listed on. So then on the back of our own WCPS application, it lists all our sites and then says, I'm interested in Richie's Tot Lot, Child Care Alliance, and they can circle one of those and then we put them in touch with them. So parents have that choice. Yep.
Is this online?
You can download the application online, but then they have to turn it into a school or turn it into central office.
Oh, okay. That's amazing because I'm serving the 3-year-old. That's why Amy was able to refer the ones that did not qualify for the 4. Some of them are, they come to me and they said, I'm only a couple of days short of the, One's birthday was September the 8th, and they couldn't get in. But so these kids will be with me. I guess now they're doing P3. It's going to be P4 next year. So because they're going to be late kindergartners, but that's amazing. Yeah, thank you. We do need a lot of 3-year-old spots.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Is there anything else from the committee? Shall we proceed? So let's hear from Kimberly Resnack. She's from Montgomery County, and she has this amazing program. It's new, Children's Opportunity Alliance. Kimberly?
Thank you, Ruby. Yes, so we are a newly formed nonprofit in Montgomery County. We were created as a result of some of the work of Montgomery Moving Forward, if you guys are familiar. They worked in collective impact work for the past 5 years in Montgomery County. It really documented the inequities that currently exist in our early care and education system. And through county council legislation, they created this organization, the Children's Opportunity Alliance. And so our mission and belief is that really when the youngest members of our community thrive, then we all thrive. So we are putting children front and center in our decision-making process. We are a public-private partnership that works with our local county government, the school system, child care providers, and other community stakeholders to really work on improving and strengthening the system of early care and learning in our community. So what has been happening in Montgomery County over the last year plus. So Montgomery County Public Schools, they've hired a full-time individual who is a central office teacher for pre-K expansion and partnerships. And her job is to meet regularly with the community-based providers, provide them with coaching and support to meet the needs of the MSDE pre-K grant. This MCPS employee visits the programs, provides supports around Excel's improvements, how to support English language learners and students with disabilities. MCPS has invited the community-based providers, staff, and teachers to participate in their MCPS pre-K trainings. However, to this date, they haven't actually attended yet because of scheduling conflicts. Both last year and this year, Montgomery County had 7 childcare providers who were community-based. Some were family childcare programs as well. We lost one provider last year because they lost their qualified teacher, but we gained one new provider this year as well. So we're still at 7. And according to Montgomery County Public Schools calculations, about 11% of our seats are public pre-K in the community-based setting, which is approximately 200 students. So we're working with Montgomery County Public Schools around a lot of things related to the Blueprint expansion. And one of the things they're excited to track is the data for community-based pre-K students, to find the KRA data for those students once they enter kindergarten, to determine how ready the students are so that they can learn more about the quality of the programs that the students are participating in. But in talking to childcare providers in our community, it really is the workforce and finances of this implementation that are the 2 biggest barriers or hurdles. Teachers don't often understand the options or the different incentives regarding the additional education or certifications that they need and how to get those extra hours or the additional certifications that are needed. The cost of living in Montgomery County is high. So we also know that our cost of care for pre-K is much higher than what the state is offering. So I think Ruby's point again about needing the upfront capital to be able to support a reimbursement grant or to cover the additional costs that are associated with the program are reasons that we've heard from our current childcare providers in our community why this is a difficult thing. It's great to hear that other communities have created this kind of centralized enrollment process. It is one thing we are working on in Montgomery County, but have not yet got set up. So that has been another comment from our childcare providers, that it's difficult for them to find students who are eligible. But we know that process is hopefully coming in the next year or 2. But so we are currently actually doing a survey and small research project where we're reaching out to childcare providers who have participated in the Blueprint seats and those who have not, to figure out what is working well and what are some of the challenges that remain. And I just want to share with you guys 2 or 3 of the quotes or comments that we've heard so far as we're doing this, just to give you guys some ideas of some of the thoughts from childcare providers that we've spoken with. So one provider stated that they would like the state to recognize the challenge they're facing due to the shortage of qualified and willing workforce. Recognition would look like variances provided as it relates to educators meeting qualifications like they've done for K-12 school teachers. They've relaxed certain things in the K-12 space, but not for early care and education and childcare. Another provider, excuse me, I need to take a sip. Excuse me, another provider talked about, they stated, we have 0 staff with CDAs. They've got about 1,000 teachers, but only 2 to 3 of them have any kind of associate's degree or bachelor's degree. The rest are all qualified to be teachers through the 90-hour coursework that's required by the state of Maryland, plus any additional training they get throughout the year. And if there's documentation that's already proven that it is extremely challenging to hire early care educators with these qualifications, let alone certified teachers. And then the last comment I'll share is a provider stated that the funding for Blueprint is insufficient. It doesn't cover the costs associated with providing quality care and instruction. So it is difficult for a private provider to subsidize this public good. So just to give you guys some feedback or share kind of what we're hearing from providers in our community that are really struggling with this. So as we learn more and kind of brainstorm collectively with our community, what are some possible solutions? It would be great to be able to come back and share some of those ideas moving forward.
That's amazing. You know, Kimberly, I'm hearing the same that what we're saying, but most of the things that I'm hearing from the private providers is that in Montgomery County is that they can make more money not participating in the Blueprint because tuition in Montgomery County is high.
Correct.
So the Blueprint tuition is much lower than what they can make if they have private pay parents, and it's
Correct.
less work as well. It's more work for less money. So a lot of the providers in Montgomery, they're telling me it does not make sense to them.
Right.
So don't
Yep,
know
exactly.
to solve that problem. So maybe if collectively we can all come up with some kind of solution, or maybe counties can help a little bit, you know, or find some funding somewhere. I mean, that would be great. So.
Right. And that's right now we're actually doing, our community is doing a supply and demand analysis as well as a cost of care. And so that should be available sometime in the next 6 to 9 months. So I think that information will also help us as a community and also hopefully at the state level to figure out how to address some of these challenges.
Yeah, I know MSDE, Dr. Cook is looking at the cost modeling rate, which is, yeah, we have to actually pay for the true cost of care.
Exactly.
Coming up, it's not here yet, but it's coming up. Hopefully they'll get some traction. Is there anything from the committee that they would like to ask about the implementation or any from the guests? Amy or whoever. Okay.
I guess my question, Kimberly, you mentioned that sometimes you're like invited to the professional learning, you know, through the school system. So we also try that. Our struggle with that sometimes is our curriculums are different. So when we're doing different, you know, learning, it is a challenge sometimes when we're using, you know, a program and they're using, you know, Children Explore Their World or Children Study Their World. So we kind of see some discrepancies there with that, but we both do use the early learning assessment. So sometimes we see success with that. So we've even aligned a report card that what we're using, they're also using as well and have access to if they want to use it. So that's been a good, it's worked really well. And then there's consistency across.
No, that's a great idea.
It's a great idea. But I know Montgomery County, we have a lot of the Latino or non-English speaker. English is a second language provider. So that's also a big challenge, you know, for Montgomery County, because we have a lot of immigrant So,
So something,
Yes.
oh, sorry, I was going to add something that works really well here as well. We have something called, I don't know if Gina spoke about this before, but the International Welcome Center. So that is housed at one of our elementary schools. And any non-speaking English, they do all type of support with the application, the enrollment process, pre-K to 12th grade. So they help with all the enrollments. I think they said they've helped enroll over 1,000 students this past year already, this school year already. But they have been a big support with helping a lot of our families who need assistance, whether it's getting a birth certificate or if it's helping getting their of income, all of those things, because that is a challenge. And, you're not sure where to go or how to do that. And that has been a big, big support that they've actually started off with just one staff member and now they're up to 4 in their office.
wow.
Yes.
That's
So Montgomery County does have a similar kind of central registration process and and international kind of supports for people who speak multiple different languages. I mean, our community has, I think it's over 140 different languages that are spoken. And so we do in all the documentation and outreach we translate everything into at least 7 languages so that things are available. But I think the piece related to this pre-K piece is they do enrollment through that process for the public pre-K seats that are housed within MCPS. But they have not yet extended that to be that more centralized enrollment system so that families coming there could also figure out what are those 7 different childcare providers that are offered that are community-based. So that is definitely something we are working towards.
That's amazing. I mean, this is why we're here today. We want to learn from one another, and then there's some programs out there that we can replicate in all the other counties. I wish some more counties would come. So I invite the other counties to come too. Amy, you have something to add?
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to kind of share with everyone where we are with that centralized enrollment. So when I was describing that, the partnership we developed with Ruby this year for how we're doing that is that application process. So we're not at a place where there's like a centralized application portal, a registration portal. Our processes are 2 steps. Families apply, receive a decision, and then they receive the information to register if they qualify. So that's what we've been doing with Ruby's program this year is the same thing we do with our public school. So families apply, they receive a decision with the steps for how to register. But I know they would have to register directly with Ruby for her program this year, and then they would have to register directly through us because the way our online registration portal is, it only houses our public schools that are for the pre-K to 12. So I just wanted to share kind of where we are in that process. It's really at that application stage, but it was really nice to work on having that universal application with Ruby for this year.
Thank you. There's amazing things out there that's happening in all the different counties. Thank you. If there's anything else, I mean, we can move to the higher ed. We have our special guest here from Copan and Notre Dame. So shall we move to Jolly? Is it Jolly? Jolly, right?
Jolly. It's okay. Yes.
Okay.
It's so great to hear from all the participants about their programs. So Copan started offering this new Bachelor's of Science degree in early childhood education. Last year, it's a newly established program, but I think it's a very timely program considering Maryland's, blueprint. And I believe this program could greatly contribute to the, efforts in especially Pillar 2 and Pillar 3. And as and then it would also contribute to Pillar 1 because there's a direct correlation between teachers' qualifications, professional knowledge and skills, and the quality of the care provided in a childcare environment. So with that, I like to talk about our program, and maybe you could also pass the word out to those providers who are looking at creating, a path for themselves, and and who knows, maybe move on to different careers in the early childhood education field. So this program is a Bachelor's of Science program. It's not a licensure program. It's just 4-year degree in early childhood education. It has 2 enrollment options. One is fully online, asynchronous, and the other one is face-to-face. The reason for that is that many of our providers are rather, over 30s, and they like to interact with their professors. They like to just get out of their home environment and, learn it in the classroom environment. But on the other hand, we have other providers who live in distance from Baltimore, because Coppin State is located in Baltimore, and they cannot travel, but on an online option works for them. Majority of our students at the moment are either childcare teachers or family childcare owners, licensed family childcare owners. And we have a very enthusiastic group who are working very hard. And we offer 2 tracks. One is teacher concentration. The other one is admin concentration. And both programs meet Division of Early Childhood requirements for certifications. Funding-wise, most of the students who are working in a childcare environment or owning their own family childcare center, they receive Childcare Career and Professional Development Fund from Division of Early Childhood. And we have few students who are not in early childhood education. They just come to get their degrees, but in that, Coppin is a very affordable public university and provides grant and financial aid options for those students as well. Let's see what else I can tell. We have students, providers, or whomever is coming through our program, they can transfer their credits, college credits, working with an advisor. So there's that option also available. We have articulation agreements with different community colleges as well. And there are some internship requirements in the program, but those field experience and internship, I'm sorry. Those who work in childcare or, maybe public pre-kindergarten or Head Start or owning their own family childcare are eligible to complete those hours in their workplace. So in that sense, it's also, it provides flexibility because it's not a licensure program, initial licensure program, so we don't have to meet the field experience or internship requirements of Department of Education. I'm looking at my notes to see what else. For admin track, our students are taking courses from College of Business, as you know, because they have to learn how to manage finances and run a program. And I believe this program opens different career pathways to people, not only teaching in a childcare center, but also directing a childcare center, directing a program, working for Division of Early Childhood. They could be QIRS assessor. They could work for childcare referral agencies. They could work for Department of Social Work. So there are child life specialists. They could work in a hospital. So there are immense opportunities for graduates of this program. They could also move on to a master's program to receive their leadership education. Today, I was at Maryland Child Care Association's meeting, and I learned wonderful programs, leadership programs provided for providers in our field. So that's just a snapshot in a not, our description of our program. I would be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Yeah, thank you. That's amazing. In terms of the CCC PDF, because I'm, when I was looking for a college to accept me, right? The CCC PDF, you apply in March. So what
Yeah.
happens, for example, if I want to apply in the fall, do I get the funding? How do I get the funding?
I believe you get once a year, to my knowledge. I am not, I don't oversee that fund. We have another person in our department who is overseeing. And forgive me if I make a mistake on that. This is my first semester in Maryland, actually. So I'm still learning. As far as I remember, you apply, I guess, once a year, and then you renew it again.
Yeah.
Renew it.
Kathy can help us with that because she's a an expert in this. So when I was looking for a college to accept me, so I could be a lead teacher in the pre-K expansion, I couldn't find anything. I did that teach, but they have a certain enrollment period, the same, and then the CCC PDF was not available. So thank goodness Kathy saved me and Notre Dame accepted me. So
we are listed in the list of schools that CCPD fund website has. If there are a list of schools, not only us, but there are other Maryland schools that work with the fund and provide education to students. But I would be happy to share that information as well.
Thank you. Yeah, that would be amazing for somebody that's want to work on their bachelor's. So as we move to Notre Dame, because I have a bachelor's and I am working with the P3 certification process, in order to be a lead teacher in the pre-K expansion. So Kathy can explain more about how the program runs.
Okay, well, I'd be happy to do that, but just to kind of backtrack to your question, if you're new to the CCPDF grant, you gather all your documentation and apply by March 1st. But if you're renewing it, then you gather it, and it's a yearly process. You gather it by June 30th, and then it's renewed from one to the other, and you have to keep your grade point average at a certain amount. But it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. So let me go back, and as Ruby said, I'm from Notre Dame of Maryland University, and we have had a very strong commitment toward adult education for a very, very long time. And we have a very strong program for undergrads that's called CAUSE. It's the College of Adult Undergraduate Studies. And in that program, not just you can get degrees in a lot of different things, but I'm in the School of Education and we're all educators, so that's what I'm going to focus on. So in that program, students who are getting their bachelor's degree, they can transfer credits if they have any from any place, and it comes in, and then they will take in the School of Education. They have two options. One is a liberal studies degree, which gives them all of the professional classes they need for state certification, as well as the gen eds that are required for our university and all of those liberal arts requirements that the state requires. And so when they end up with the grand finale of their internship and take the praxis, and then they can get their certification. Many of the early childhood educators that come to us, especially those who have their own centers, are really stifled getting a liberal studies degree because of the internship requirement. And so many of them have opted to get a liberal arts degree, which they still get a degree, they still take 120 credits, they take all of the professional classes for education except for the internship. They take more humanities classes to kind of make up for that, and they end up with a degree with a concentration in education. Since the blueprint, though, and since our understanding of learning has grown and continues to grow, we understand how significant and important early childhood education really is, and really want our teachers to have the highest level of expertise that's possible. And so there are a couple of things that have happened that at Notre Dame, but also in the grant process, which is significant. that allow more people to benefit. So about 2 years ago, the CCPDF grant opened its doors to not only bachelor's degrees, but also master's degrees. And as long as your focus was early childhood, elementary, or special education, you could qualify to get that degree. And we have two options. We have the MAT degree, which is a master's in teaching, which includes certification in the internship. And we have an LDT, which is a leadership in teaching, where you can do the certification route with an internship or not, just to get the degree. So that opened the door for folks that have gotten degrees in, you know, whatever, social work or business or whatever, who have found their way into early childhood education to really get the background and the expertise that they need. And so our CCPDF grant really has flourished and grown in the last couple of years. And at this point, we have the coordinators meeting in about 2 weeks, but last year we had the highest number of CCPDF participants in the state. And as their advisor, I think there are some challenges that folks face. One is that a lot of times they haven't been in school for a while and they're nervous about it or anxious about it, or, you know, their technology is a stumbling block for some. So we really provide a lot of support through our faculty, but through our writing center and things like that to help folks make that transition back to school. And sometimes it's just letting them cry on my shoulder because it's a lot of work and whatever. So in addition to that, though, we have a program called the ACT, and that is a program that provides all the education classes that folks need to be certified. So again, if you have a degree in something else and you just want the certification piece, there might be some prerequisites that you need, maybe another math or another science or English or whatever, but it's all the education classes. Again, it includes the internship. So Maryland Rebuilds, it has been a very beneficial program, but the challenge of the internship is the biggest stumbling block that we face. And this conversation is happening all over the place at many different levels because at this point, home centers aren't an official, a qualified site for the internship to happen. So I mean, people have done many creative things. Sometimes if it's their own center and they can afford it, they hire somebody else to come in and do the internship. Sometimes they revert back to that liberal arts degree instead of the liberal studies. But I feel really strongly that if you do all of the work in all that coursework and you want to be certified, there needs to be a pathway for you to be able to do it. And I hope those conversations come to fruition because I have several students that are like now caught right in the middle of it. But again, Maryland Rebuilds is a short-term grant. And I was resonating with what Dr. Miller said in the beginning, that the timing is really interesting because, you know, once you find out you get a grant, then you have to get people to be in it, and then they have to enroll and be accepted and whatever. And so the timing of the grant is moving along. So for some of our students, what they're going to be able to do is start out in the Maryland Rebuilds grant and then shift over after Christmas to be new members of the CCPDF grant. And since I am involved in both, that can be a very simple transition. But excuse me, I guess the part that I guess I want folks to know about is that, you know, Notre Dame is an approved school. We're accredited. We're well respected in the area of education. We have the second largest number of teachers that come through our program in Maryland. And I used to be a principal in my former life, and I always liked it when the students came from Notre Dame because I knew they had a really strong background, research-based strategies, and knew what they were doing. So that's not the problem, but I think the issue now is we have lots of folks who are coming back to an educational setting after they've been away from it for a while, so they need particular support, and I think we're providing that. We also need financial assistance, and these two grants do that. The CCPDF grant pays for books, tuition, fees, everything, including the EdTPA fee they have to do in the internship. So that's a golden one as long as you keep your grades up. The Maryland Rebuilds pays for less the way our grant was written, but it does pay for tuition, which is the biggest chunk of the time. It also provides a lot of support. And I think that once we get over the hurdle of this internship issue, which is a big hurdle, but it's like, you know, somebody came up with this wonderful idea and the details follow. And sometimes that happens in a lot of different arenas, but right now, my concern is that some of my students are getting caught in the vagueness of the detail. But the school, the university is really willing to work through this because we're committed. Obviously, part of our mission is that education transforms the world, and that's in our heart. So we're trying to do that for our early childhood educators. And so I'm the contact person for both of those grants. And I kind of lead people through the admissions process, because that sometimes takes a while while they get all their transcripts together. It can take forever. And as I said, the timeline of the grant keeps chugging along. So my goal has been, let's get started with the Maryland Rebuilds grant, because you can get into that at any point in time. And then if it's going to take longer than the Maryland Rebuilds grant is going to last, then we can shift you over at the appropriate yearly time into the CCPDF grant. So it seems like a good model. And as I said, the biggest challenge is the internship. And also, I think, and some of my students are involved in Aspire and the pre-K expansion and all that other stuff, getting a lot of support and a lot of experience and a lot of professional development from the state. And somehow, if that could be counted toward what they have to do, I think that would be a wonderful thing. The other thing that the Maryland Rebuilds grant does is it provides professional development for centers. So if somebody's in the grant and they are a center director or owner and they want us to come do professional development with their staff, we are able to do that. And a lot of the topics, they can pick from a menu of topics, but they all kind of relate to some of the coursework that folks are going to be doing if they get involved in the program. So I think it's a great opportunity. I think it's really exciting, but a challenge is a challenge nonetheless. So at any rate, I'm not sure if you have any questions or whatever, I'd be happy to.
That's amazing, Kathy, because I'm hearing from a lot of the providers. Some of them they're just missing the student teaching component, and they have to make a decision to graduate with the liberal arts. And some are asking me, if I have a liberal arts, how do I get started with this act? The P3 certification process. They have their transcript evaluated again, and then right?
Yes. Yeah. So in the ACT program, we can evaluate their transcript, but it's always good if the state evaluates it, because sometimes they have, depending on who's looking at it, it ends up to be a little different. And I never want people to have to take a class that they don't really need or be missing one when they think they're finished. But MSDE will evaluate the transcript, and then we provide all the education classes. So lots of folks have, maybe started out in education at some point and switched to something else. So many students have some of the classes done. So when you get into the ACT program, some people are taking 10 or 12 classes because they don't have any education classes done. Some of them are taking 4 or 5. I just spoke to somebody this morning who she only has 1 class left to take because she had so much done already, and she's taken, I think, 4 under the ACT, which is fine. And then she's going to do an internship in the fall. But so it's individualized, I guess what I'm saying is it's what the ACT focus on. Okay, what do you really need? What's the fastest track that we can provide for you to get you certified? And those are the classes that folks have to take.
Yeah, that's amazing. Rachel, do we have any update on the alternative pathways?
Oh, we do. But first, I just want to say thank you to everybody for today. This has been a very rewarding and informative hour. And just from our side, of being on kind of the paper pusher side, it was really exciting to hear of all of the efforts underway and of the success stories. Like, we get it that this is hard work. We get it that there are hurdles and challenges and things that we have to figure out. But I think I was beaming and glowing and excited just hearing how hard people are working together and the determination to overcome those challenges. So I just tweeted to say hey, this is worth rewatching this hour of this meeting because it was really, really good stuff. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for informing us, for making us aware of both the successes and the hurdles. I took note of many. and we'll be following up on many of those. I heard some very critical, important issues that need to be addressed quickly. So we're on it, and we hear you, and we want to be here to help support the implementation of this. With that, I know we're running out of time, so I'll just share one quick update with that. As many of you know, we at the AIB were charged with submitting a report by December 1st about high quality, like alternatives to high quality requirements and structures. And so we actually, with slightly short notice, have a convening scheduled to make sure that we're hearing from a wide variety of stakeholders that are connected to this work. And we will be getting that pulled together and meeting with people with the intention of hearing back. So some information will be shared. I know several people on this call will be joining that. And then the key piece is we really want to come together to brainstorm, like to update and to brainstorm and strategize. What do we need to do better? What do we need to solve the challenges and hurdles? What can we put forward? And the idea thinking that if we have people from all the different vantage points, all the different perspectives, that together we can collaborate to come up with things we haven't thought of yet. So that is coming up in the near future and is in collaboration between AIB and MSDE. And we understand that many, many great things are underway. There's lots of good stuff coming. So you'll be hearing some more information very, very soon about that. So Ruby, I think the only other update I would provide about advisory committees real quick is just that the window closed for applications for advisory committees, and we received quite a few wonderful applications again, and our subcommittee of AIB members are working through the list now and trying to kind of get the best representative people that help showcase the full diversity of Maryland and the diversity of all of the things in each pillar. So pillar 1 is seeking a new student member since our student moved on to college, and we did receive several very high quality candidates. So by the next meeting, we should have a new pillar 1 advisory committee member to introduce to the group. But I think that's it for me for updates, unless there's any questions for AIB.
Can we quickly say hello to Lisa?
Yes. I would love to introduce Lisa Armstrong. Lisa is the newest member of the AIB team and is joining me on the policy team representing our pillar 4. And really, she's the eyes and ears, really, really focused on equitable implementation of blueprint strategies. That she's helping us with a lot of pillar 4 topics, but brings incredible experience from the school system side of things as a speech language pathologist and an incredibly experienced practitioner. So Lisa, are you able to say hi?
I am. Here I am. Hi. I have enjoyed listening to your conversations, your meetings. I reviewed your previous meetings as well. And early childhood has a special place in my heart. So I'm so on board with all of your ideas and your brainstorming. And I completely agree and see the hurdles. I have experienced it myself from working with the birth through 5 population, and then also in the pre-K settings, but in the school systems. So this is very important work. I thank you all for your time, because these meetings are technically after hours, and everyone has lives and families. So it shows that you all are dedicated, and I appreciate that. So this is a great advisory committee.
Yes, I do agree. And I would like to thank everyone. I know you all have busy schedule, and for you to take time to share all the wonderful things that we're doing to make the blueprint a reality is really, I really, really thank you from the bottom of my heart. I've been contacted by a lot of private providers that they would like to have another meeting, but this is more for the grant process. So they would like possibly in sometime in November or early December. So stay tuned for that next meeting.
Incoming call from
Jimmy. Home, press Uconnect phone button to answer.
Okay, thank you. Thank you,
Phone
Rachel.
call completed.
Ruby, you're muted.
Oh, what happened? Well, thank you so much. And everyone, you have a wonderful evening.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye,
everyone.
Cora.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.